with Front Doors News, and in studio today we have Andrew Erlich, welcome, who is a clinical psychologist, author, and speaker as well.
Yes.
Now, you have a book that you just came out with, The Long Shadows.
Yes.
Let's talk about that, because I know there's a personal connection to this book.
Yes. This book is about my Uncle Jake, who for a time was considered the tallest man in the world, 8.5 feet tall.
Oh my goodness. Now, what kinds of, it's a biofictional type of book.
Biofictional.
So there's some truth and there's some fiction there. So what kinds of things?
It's about 80% truth. He died when I was 3, and I'm probably the world's leading expert on his life. I've been researching him as long as I can remember. When I started, I had more hair, and it was a different color. but he was a preemie at birth, 3.5 pounds. By the time he was in the 3rd grade, he was 6 feet tall. By the time he finished the 6th grade, he was 7 feet tall.
Oh my goodness.
And then he went on to star in silent films and also to be the world's tallest man for Ringling Brothers for 14 years.
So now, how did he get started with, you know, the circus?
Well, what happened was he'd been making movies in Hollywood, and he'd had an accident doing one of his own stunts. He fell 14 feet from what they called funny cars, studio funny cars, and this car's going about 45 miles an hour and goes over a pothole, and he goes flying, comes crashing down to the asphalt, and when he wakes up, he's in the hospital, fractured nose, blurred vision. Doctors say it's from the lights, the powerful lights they used in the studios for silent films in those days, which was a common problem among silent film stars, having problems with the eyes from the lights. 3 days later, he was totally blind. And they don't know what they're going to do, and he's, month after month, he can't see. And doctors finally figured he must have some kind of a brain tumor. So they figured this is like the very early 1920s, they start bombarding his head with x-rays, not really knowing what they're doing, but it works. Tumor shrinks, vision comes back, he stops growing. He's recuperating in El Paso. Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus comes to town, and one of the most embarrassing moments in circus history takes place. Jake and his friends walk into the sideshow tent, and my uncle is a foot taller than the professional giant, big Jim Tarver.
Oh, so who's the star of the show there?
Right. So Jake then travels with the circus, and while he's with the circus, he develops his artistic ability. And he is not only this big man who could perform in movies and in the circus, but he is a world-class painter, a sculptor, an award-winning photographer, a poet, a singer, a musician, played the saxophone and the piano as well.
Now, he obviously had to go through a lot during the time that it was, you know, with the Depression and things like that,
Yes.
and being different.
Yes.
So can you give me that sense real quick of just the personal aspect and the family environment?
Sure,
like,
sure.
what pieces of that are in here?
Well, this is strongly in the book about what he went through as a child, and I had to really call on my work as a psychologist with people who, we all feel, everybody has something about them that they feel is their clubfoot, their difference. Most people, it's inside, nobody ever sees it, although we often think other people know, but they don't. Jake could never hide. Everywhere he went, people saw it. And kids started to tease him. You can imagine, they would tease him, they'd taunt him, call him all kinds of names, but they also would trip him. They would play cruel tricks. They'd throw rocks at him because of his height. So he got very, very depressed. He started taking back alleys to avoid people. And my grandfather, who was a really wonderful man, wonderful father, he recognized what was happening with his son. He says, "Come on, I'm going to take you to California. You like to fish? We're going to go on a fishing trip to Santa Monica." So in June, in the early 1920s, they arrived in Santa Monica, and word spreads about this big kid, this giant boy and his dad. Town scouts from the movies come, and they offer him at 16 a contract to star in silent pictures. So before that, though, he'd been really terribly shy. I mean, he was just very self-effacing, very, very depressed, and it's even said that he hated himself. But the wonderful thing about this is that he came out of it. He came out of it by expressing his differences.
And how can people find out, or how can they get their hands on this book?
Wonderful question. You can get the book on the book's website, www.thelongshadowsbook.com. You can also get it on Amazon. It's also available as an ebook for Nook, for Kindle, and for iBooks.
And you have a book signing coming up as well.
Yes. September 14th, Friday night at 7 o'clock at Changing Hands. So hope folks come out. I'll be talking about Jake's life and signing books.
Are you going to have real photographs there?
There will be real photographs.
Awesome.
Wonderful photos of his life, also videos of his life.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming, and we really appreciate you sharing this with
It was
us.
a pleasure. Thank you.